What's up, guys? I hope you're all fantastic. I want to thank you, as always, for stopping by the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Today, we're talking about Shaft. It's strutting back into theaters this weekend. Samuel L. Jackson is back in the lead. Richard Roundtree, who first played this character back in 1971, also is reprising his role as John Shaft, with Jessie T. Usher, Regina Hall, and Alexandra Shipp filling out the cast. The late John Singleton directed Shaft back in 2000. This time, Tim Story is in the director's chair, and this one gives us basically three generations of the Shaft men, as young John Shaft Jr., a cyber analyst with the FBI, reluctantly enlists the help of his estranged father to help him find clues to what really happened behind his friend's sudden death. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I probably enjoyed this movie more than most people will. I actually enjoyed The Last Shaft with Jackson in the lead. While it was a little bit too comedically driven for what I would have liked, I still thought it was an entertaining, solid action movie with loads of the bravado and masculinity that was known for the character. It also had a very strong collection of supporting characters to round everything out, and like I said, it was overly focused on the laughs, but regardless of that, I thought a good amount of the humor actually did work. So with this sequel, I kind of expected that same tone to pretty much just carry over into it, and for the most part, I thought it did. This one was still very comedically driven, without a doubt, but I thought a lot of it worked for me once again to create some engaging laughs. There was a self-awareness to this one that kind of created an odd, unique charm to the sense of humor that was captured in the writing from Kenya Barris and Alex Barnow. Now, I will definitely tell you that you need to take the tone of this humor with a grain of salt. I mean, the theme in this one is routinely misogynistic, like say 90 to 95% of it, but that's the intention. The character was first on screen in 1971. It was a different time back then, and even then, the tone of it was intentional. Shaft is a player. I mean, even in this movie, Samuel L. Jackson says, "Motherfucker, if James Bond was real, he would want to be me." And that should basically just tell you the direction of the humor. That's just that being loaded with male arrogance and bravado, blatant archaic bravado that was highlighted with kickback throughout the movie from the younger generation as just not being okay anymore. And through that, I thought the attempts at humor overall were able to highlight the just the passing of the character from an unfiltered older generation to the more refined and tactful persona of, honestly, the modern era. The contrast of personalities and their just simple varying approaches to conducting business in this movie created some routine amusement for me, and it was able to honestly keep the energy up throughout a storyline that we have all seen before. There wasn't a ton of misdirection here. The beats of the story are pretty much easy to forecast long in advance, but it was a complete narrative. The character arcs were honestly routine for what they were, but they were elevated by the energy of the cast, and the progression of solving this case had enough layers to it to create some interest in how it's all going to end. I thought Jessie T. Usher was more than serviceable in this one. I also thought he and Jackson were a nice pair. Their comedic timing was really able to create some genuine amusement throughout the movie. Usher wasn't completely able to hit the comedic beats each time, and there was a couple overacted scenes here and there, yet I do think he was more than capable in the role. He was able to capture that needed chemistry with Jackson to sell me on their broken father-son relationship. Also, Samuel L. Jackson, of course, works in this role. Once again, I mean, he's pretty much playing himself. He was able to carry that same brash attitude that he had in the 2000 film into this one without skipping a beat. Plus, he had to deliver some flat-out uncivilized dialogue at times, and he does so without hesitation. And for as wrong as it was, I enjoyed seeing him being pulled into the 21st century, bonding with his son, because there was just a slight tinge of sincerity to it. And honestly, I would have liked a little bit more of Roundtree in this one, but I enjoyed what we did get. He's always got his smooth demeanor going. Regina Hall and Alexandra Shipp admittedly were not developed at all. They're cardboard characters, but they certainly do elevate the material with just their screen presence alone. Both of them also showed some comedic range at times, in particular Regina Hall, as did Jessie T. Usher, which I thought all blended together with Jackson's relenting banter. And you add all of this with a collection of enjoyable shootouts, and it really does keep the pace moving in a film that I guess you could say would be on the long side to some, but I think with constant progression, others may enjoy the subtle homage that it has to those 70s crime dramas. And yes, it can be considered offensive. Yes, the female characters are lacking development, but that's kind of the point of this film and just the franchise overall for their the cinematic campiness that they create. There's no denying this movie had an overly procedural feel to it, but it didn't hinder it that much for me, and I had a fun, engaging time watching this movie for what it was. The script was very self-aware. It knew what it wanted to accomplish. The direction had just enough style to create a fun atmosphere to everything, and all of it complements what would have been a perfect soundtrack had it just not suffered from a very weak theme song that was just nothing compared to the original by Isaac Hayes. But routinely, the scenes would open up, the music would instantly elevate the mood, and that's something I always love in a film. And overall, I'm going to give Shaft a solid 70% on the entertainment meter. It was fun to me. I think if you've enjoyed the 4 Shaft films of the past or the short-lived TV series, then you're going to enjoy this one, as it fills in some gaps in the historical timeline, delivers plenty of violence, edginess, style, hypersexuality, laughs, and just a small amount of charm. Now for today's My Silver Screen recommendations, I'm going to be selecting, of course, the original Shaft, Night Moves starring Gene Hackman, and Devil in a Blue Dress starring Denzel Washington, all solid films revolving around private investigators. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop it a thumbs up, leave a comment below. I'd love to talk movies with you guys, share it with your friends, and without question, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can never miss a video. Here are some links to some recent reviews just in case you missed them. All my social media links and the link to our official website are down in the description below, and I'll catch you next time.